Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to be showing you guys how to draft, cut and sew a 3/4 kind of baggy short or baggy neck or baggy pants. So without wasting much of your time, let's dive into the video. So we are going to be drafting this first and foremost, so that if there's any correction, we will make it on the pattern before transferring it on the fabric. So the measurements I'll be using for this um baggy 3/4 shorts is my full length will be 28. This 28 minus my band, which is 2 inches, that's the length will be 26. Then my waist to hip is 12. Then my waist to knee, the length is 24. My clutch length is 12. Then my front clutch extension, I use that's my how I calculate mine, round hip divided by 20, and I'm having 2.1 for my front clutch extension. Then for my back clutch extension, I use this calculation of round hip divided by 10, which I got 4.2. Then my round waist is 32. Then my round hip is 42. So if you have gotten your calculation, let's dive into the video. So from here, I will be using 2-in-1 pattern drafting to cut out, so that I will know exactly what I am doing and the outcome of the whole thing. So since I'm using two-way pattern, from this I'm going to come down by 3 inches. So I'm going to come down by 3 inches. These 3 inches will serve as my starting line. And there's reason for me to come down by these 3 inches. So after coming down by 3 inches, this side, I'm going to go in by 2 inches. Because after making this pattern, I'm going to trace it out to cut the front and the back separately. So remember, the full length that we are working with is 26. So I have already minus my band, which is 2 inches. Okay, 2 inches. So we are using 26. So from here, I'm going to place my tape and I'll mark out 26 inches. Jeez, 26 is much. So 26 is somewhere here. So here is my 26. So I'm going to continue marking it out. Add my 2 inseam allowance, which will make my total measurement to be 28. And that's what I did. So now I'm connecting the lines like so. So since I have connected my full length, this is how it looks like. So this is my full length and the folding allowance. So after connecting the lines together, so guys, we are going to start adding our body length from this measurement that we have. So our waist to hip is 12. 12 minus 2, 2 is our band, will give us 10. So from here, I'm going to mark out 10. I'm also going to mark out 10. I'm also going to mark out 10. So here will be enough. So my cloth length is 12. So from this our line, I'm going to mark out my 12 for my clutch line. On this clutch line, I didn't minus anything. So that's the stuff. So from here, I'm going to connect the lines. This is my clutch line. So this is my hip line. Remember that I'm going to use my hip measurement for this. My hip is 42. 42 divided by 4 will give me 10.5. So I will start on my clutch line to mark out 10.5. I'll mark out 10.5 here. I'll also mark out 10.5 on my waistline, 10.5 on my cloth line, and 10.5 on my waistline, and I will connect it with a straight line. So once I connect it, my front cloth extension is 2.1, so I'm going to mark out 2.1 here. That's my cloth front extension. Then I will use my free hand to curve it. It will look like an L shape, kind of, because I don't want it to be too, yes, perfect. So this is how my front clutch curve is going to look like. So from here, from this line, I'm going to start from here to start placing my waist measurement. My waist is 32 divided by 4 will give me 8. So I'm not going to start from this side. So I'm going to start on this 10.5 that we calculated, that we marked out earlier, and place my 8 inches. So since I have marked out my 8 inches, if you are the type that like adding that to your pants, you can add 1 inch that on this measurement. So from this 8 inch, I'm going to connect it to my hip line. I have connected it to my hip line. So the next thing for me to do, this is what we call leg balancing. So from here, I'm going to measure from this my cloth extension line to this point. That's my hip, or that's my where my 10.5 stops. So from here to here, this is like 12.75. So I'm going to divide this 12.75 into 2. I'm going to divide this into 2 to get the midpoint. So here is my midpoint. My midpoint is 6.3 exactly. So I'm going to use that 6.3 measurement to get the midpoint. So after getting the midpoint, I'm going to connect here to here. I'm not touching my cloth. I'm not touching my hip line. So once you get it, you draw a straight line to join the lines together. If this is a full pant, this straight line is going to go down, or it's going to go down all to the full length. So once I have gotten this line, I'm going to add 1 inch, because 1 inch times 4 will give me 4. So I'm going to add 1 inch also to this. I'm going to add 1 inch also to this. So after adding my 1 inch, I'm going to be extending these lines together. I'm going to be extending the lines. So here I'll also add 1 inch. So this is my new measurement, this 1 inch that I added. So guys, I'm going to use my divided hip. That's 10.5. 10.5, I'm going to divide it, 10.5, I'm going to divide it by 2. That's 5.25. So I'm going to place my tape here, 5.25. So I'm going to mark out my 5.25 here. So I'm going to, from here, from this point, to connect to this. So I'm going to use my curve rule to connect from this point. I will drop the link where you can get your pattern rulers. so that I will blend the hash line. So from the upper part, I'm going to add ½ inch to it. This ½ inch is like a raise. So I will use my hip curve to connect it from here to here. So now basically we are done with the front panel. So now we are going to draft the back panel. So when drafting the back panel, on this your clutch line, you are going to come in. So I will be using 1 inch, while on the waistline I'll be using 1.5. So this line, I'm going to connect the two lines together. This will serve as my new clutch line. So from here, because of my butt, I'm going to add 1 inch to the upper part, and I'm going to extend the line. It's my round waist measurement divided by 4. So that's 32 divided by 4. 32 divided by 4 will give me 8. So from here, I'm going to place my tape and mark out my 8 inches. So my 8 inches is here, plus my 1 inch, for the bogus. That's 9. And also I'm going from this 9, I'm going to raise this thing by half. So from this half, I'm going to connect this 1 inch to this half. Perfect. Remember my round hip is 42. 42 divided by 4 will give me 10.5. That's 10.5 plus 1 will give me 11.5. Okay, perfect. Exactly at this point. So I'm going to mark out 11.5 here. So since I marked out 11.5, I'm going to add 1 inch to this measurement. So from here is 1 inch. That's for the back. I'm going to mark it also from here to this point. So I'm going to use my hip curve to curve out. So from this clutch line, remember from our calculation, the back clutch extension is 4.2. So from this our new back clutch line, I'm going to mark out 4.2. So here, so on this I'm going to curve. It's not a must that your curving must reach to where your clutch extension is. It's not a must that it must reach there. The thing is, get your perfect curve. So from here, I'm going to add ½ inch. So I will also use my curve tool to connect from this back clutch extension to this ½ inch. So that is it, guys. The next thing for us to do is trace out the ones which is the front and the one which is the back. I am done tracing out the front and the back panel. So this is the back panel of this, while this is the front. So what is left for me is to start adding ½ inch to this. So I'm done adding my ½ inch. So guys, I'm done adding my ½ inch on the front panel, so I'm going to cut it out. So this is how the front panel is looking. So I'm going to cut out the back right away. So I'm going to put this one side. Okay, before I have not added my seam allowance here, so I'm also going to add ½ inch. So since I'm through adding my seam allowance at the back, I'm going to continue with my cutting. So here we have the front panel and also we have the back panel. So that's it guys. We are going to place this on the fabric and start cutting it out. So make sure you make a match up to make sure that they are on equal line. I'll try as much as possible. I'm trying as much as possible to manage my fabric. So that's it. So this is the back, this is the front. How to cut the band is make sure that what you have is bigger than your round waist, or what you will cut out will be bigger than your round waist. So here remember that what we minus from the full length of this pants is 2 inches for the 2 inches for the band. So I'm going to be cutting out to 2.5. Going to be folding 2.5. Going to be folding 2.5. So after marking it out, then this is the wrong side. So I'm going to mark out 2.5 all through. Then my round waist is 32, but I will be using 35 or 36 inches. So from here I'm going to mark out my 36 inches. So this is where my band will stop. So I'm going to fold like so to reach that place that I marked out my 2 inches. I'm going to fold it, then use my hand to press it down. So I'm using my hand to press it down. So once I'm done pressing it down, I'm going to recheck my round width of my waist, the round circumference of my waist, which is also 36. So after taking it, I'm going to cut it out. So right now, since we are done cutting out the band, then the front panel, which is this, and also the back panel, which is this. We are through with drafting, cutting it out. Then now what we are going to do is joining. So I have achieved my front zip fly. What I did here is I joined the two flap or the two cloth curve together, leaving a little space. Since we have added the zipper on the front side, so there's no need. So I'm going to join. Remember that we added ½ inch. So I'm going to pin the two edge. I'm going to pin the curve to make sure that everything they are equal. So I'm going to sew with ½ inch. So I left not up to ½ inch here. So right now I'm going to, this is the front, this is the back, then this is the front. So I'm going to, since it's closed up, I'm going to join the front and the back together like so. So I will pin it. My waist measurement is 32, so 32 divided by 2. So I'm going to use my tape to mark out 32 inches. So this is my 32, so I'm going to divide it by 2, which will give me 16. So from here, this is 16. Always make sure you are placing the tape where it's supposed to be. From my center of the zip fly, I'm going to mark out 4 inches on both sides, then use 1 inch to sew. 4 inches here. Then I will mark out 1 inch. I will mark out 1 inch. Remember that we added 1 inch to this. I'm just going to fold it like so, and then pleat. Then if you fold with pleat, I'm going to fold from here. Then once I pleat, then I will stitch. Like so. I'm going to also make this side to face perfect. For the back dart, I'm going to use normal dart shape. Quit from here. I'll go in by 4½, then mark ½ inch on both sides, then mark 5½ inches. Then I'll flip my dart, I'll flip my stitch like so, then mark out 4½, mark out 4½ also. Then I will add ½ inch on the 4½ that I marked, then use 5½ as the length of my dart. So when I'm done, I'm going to pleat it like normal dart. Then stitch from this point to same procedure I did here, I'm going to repeat it here. Then make sure that my waist is 16. Here. Then I have like 1.5, that's 0.75. So this 0.75 is what I'm going to use to stitch 0.75 here. So this is what I will be using to stitch the two sides together. So since I'm through joining, the next thing for me to do is the flap side. So I'm going to open it like so. Remember that I left something like ½ inch down here. So I'm going to stitch from this point to this point. I will not touch the ½ inch that I left open. So I'm using ½ inch to sew this side. This is what I have, guys. So after adding my band, I'm going to fold these down parts and we are good to go. 35, okay, 32.25 plus 1 inch, that's ½ inch on both sides for sewing the two edges. That's 33.25. Then I'm going to add 1 inch. That 1 inch will serve as the hook, as the band extension for the hook. So it's going to have band extension here so that you can easily add your buttons or your hook and eye. So I'm going to add 1 to it. That's the initial round waist that we have for this pant is 32.25 plus ½ inch for stitching. That's 33.25 plus 1 inch, or you can add 1.5. So for the band, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my measurement round my waist. So from here, this is what I'm going to do. From here, from this zip side, I'm going to place my tape. I'm going to place my tape here and start taking my measurements. This is 6. This is 9. This is 15. This is 22. This is 26. This is 28. Then this is 32.25. So this 32.25, this is what I cut out at the initial time as my band. So I cut, I think 35 or 38. So I'm going to, that one is 32 and 32.25. Always make sure that you have it offered. So this we have 35. So on this, what we are going to do is the remaining edge. So here is my 34. So we are going to do this calculation on a calculator. Our round measurement is 32.25. Then, like I said, we are going to add half inch on both sides, making it 1 inch plus 1, 33.25. Then I'm going to add 1.5 for the band extension plus 1.5. That's 34.75. So that 34.75 is what I have here. See where I place my measurements. I'm going to drag my tape like so. 34.75. I'm going to cut it out. So since I have trimmed it out, so guys, this is the band and how the band looks like. So I'm going to attach this once to the shorts. I'm not going to do it 2 times. After sewing the first one, you flip and sew the second one. No, the only thing I'll have to do is to flip this thing over, like this, and then stitch using ½ inch that we added to it. So I'm going to use ½ inch and stitch, then repeat the same process here, flip it over, use ½ inch and stitch. So I'm going to do that right now and show you guys how it looks like and how you will attach it to your pants or your shorts or your skirt. So guys, I'm done stitching. So this is what I did. I folded here inside, then left here open like so, then stitch all the way through the edge. I did the same thing at the other side. So if you are doing this, make sure that what you did at the other side is what you will do at the other side. So the next thing for me is you can trim here off or cut it in a bias form, or trim it out in a bias form depending on what you want. So I'm trimming it out in a bias form. So the next thing for me to do is to flip it. I will use my picker to make sure that I bring out all the fabric inside. So I will do the same thing here, flip it like so, then use my picker to bring out the excess fabric. So this is how the band looks like. So this will easily make my work to be easier. I can just flip it in and then start sewing side. So I'm going to trim here off. I'm also going to trim here off. So once I'm done trimming, I'm going to start attaching my band like so. So I will be using ½ inch for this. So when attaching, make sure that the back is longer than the front. I will place my tape and then mark out 1½ inches that we added for the band extension. So that is where my band will stop. My zipper will stop like so. So guys, you can see that everything is in alignment. So I'm done adding my band or pinning my band together. So this is where the how the zip fly look like with the band. You can see that everything is kind of super neat at the wrong side. So right now I'm going to start top stitching all round. So guys, we'll have to be stitching. If you stick, you check. If you stitch, you check. So that's all. Perfect. So I'm done adding the band. So this is the wrong side. So make sure before adding the back that everything you have interlocked everything, including your zip fly, your side seam, your middle butt seam. Then make sure that everything looks nice and cool. So this is the wrong side of the band. This is how it looks like. So this is the front side of the band. So right now I'm going to close up the zipper and see what it looks like. So guys, this is it, and it's looking so super neat and super amazing. So right now I'm going to stitch the down part, and voila, our 3/4 is done. So guys, we have come to the end of this tutorial. So this is the final result of the pants. This is when it is folded into two, and this is the front part. So you can see my clutch shape. That's how to achieve your clutch line if you don't want your clutch or your flap to fold or start doing somehow. So this is it. So make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Make sure you give me a big thumbs up on this tutorial if you like and enjoy this video. If you have any question, drop the link. If you have any question, ask me in the comment section. I'll be there right away to answer every of your questions. So I can't wait to see you guys in my next tutorial. Mwah.